Alright, so this is going to be a basic leather knitting video. I'm starting out, I've got a swatch here that's 20 stitches wide. I'm just using some basic bulky craft yarn. I'm using size 11 needles, that's 8 millimeters, and they're just a plastic needle, just for this demonstration. Okay, I've got the right needle tucked under my right arm, and my working stitches are coming off of my left needle here. Now, midway through a row, I'm going to show you how to tension it real quick. So in the middle of the row, I take the yarn, run it between my index finger and my middle finger. This is the yarn that's coming off of the work right here, this end, and the back, of course, goes to the yarn ball. Alright, I wrap the yarn around my middle finger and put the nail of my ring finger on top. If y'all are hearing noises in the background, it's just my kids who don't realize I'm making a video and they need to be quiet. Okay, so we take the left needle and we put a stitch on our right needle, wrap the yarn around, drop the old stitch. New stitch on, and we just keep going across the row like this. You'll notice my needles are at approximately a 90-degree angle from each other. Okay, now I've gotten to the point where I've got my stitches are too far spread out here, so I'm going to grab hold of the tip with my index finger and my thumb and just slide more stitches to the top. Try to keep that fabric down so you can see what I'm doing here. Alright, and then we're just going to finish knitting right across the row. Apologize for the little clicky sounds. My needle hitting my desk here. Alright. You'll also notice that I've got my index finger here keeps slipping under the needle to help support it. Normally, when I'm leather knitting like this, I'm sitting back in my chair. And so the needle is, besides resting under my arm, is also resting against the back of the chair. And that's helping to support it and keep it stable. Doing this video, though, I can't sit back in my chair, so I don't have that support. So I'm giving that. Normally, you wouldn't need to do that. So I just have your hand here, and you just have the motion like that. Okay, so I'm to the end. Now, for me, to prevent from having to retension my yarn every time, I drop the left-hand needle. I grab hold of the tip of this with this hand, take it out from under my arm, and just flip it. So it's all ready to go. It's in position. My yarn's still tensioned. I haven't lost that tension. Then I can use my left hand to take the new right-hand needle and tuck it under my right arm. I wish you could see that motion. I can't get the camera that way. Alright, and then for purling, of course, we want to have the yarn in front of the needles. Okay, again, I'm using my finger to hold it up. You wouldn't need to do that. Okay, so I put the stitch on the needle, wrap it around, and go. Alright, so here's a perfect example. Doing that stitch, I just lost my tension. See how it's not wrapped around my hands correctly anymore? Okay, so I can drop that. I lay my hand on top of the yarn, wrap around my finger, ring finger right on top. Alright, and then I continue to purl across the row. Now you'll notice that the angle here is still about 90 degrees between my two needles, but the motion of the left needle is slightly different. For a knit stitch, you start from the left-hand side of the needle and then you pull it off to the right. For a purl stitch, you start on the right-hand side of the needle. You see how this needle tip is on the right side of the right needle? And you pull it off to the left. So the left hand, your left hand needs a little bit more dexterity for this style of knitting because it's doing all the work. The right hand, it does the same motion whether you're purling or knitting. It's just that Yarn Harlot describes it as a sewing machine action. Once again, I got my stitches all spread out, so I'm going to power load my tip back here. Now, when you're squishing all of them right up here to the top, and I mean that's really close to my tip here, I put my index finger right on top of them to keep them from flying off. Don't feel bad if you have stitches fly off. It happens all the time. Just carefully pick them right back up. Alright. And so now we have purled to the end of the row. I hope that this video was helpful.